One of the retailers disappointing today was Target, as we've been mentioning. Shares trading lower as the store's December same-store sales came in below expectations. The company also cutting its earnings outlook, and rather dramatically. Joining us to talk about whether Target is losing its edge is Chuck Grom. He's senior retail analyst with Deutsche Bank, and Stacey Widlitz, a CNBC contributor and president of SW Retail Advisors. Folks, welcome. Chuck, what went wrong at Target?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that are going wrong at Target that just didn't really manifest in the month of December. We've had basically a year since last December where they surprised with a 0.9% comp of weak business, and we frankly think the biggest issue there is traffic. We also think on the internet they're losing the edge versus the Amazons of the world. We've done some price survey work that showed they were, priced roughly 10% below peers, and we also think if you look at that prior chart you just showed, whether you look at TJ or Ross or some of the specialty retailers, we think they're losing their edge on the apparel front as well. So I think there's a lot of issues right now at Target.
So have they lost one of those selling points of Target that Target had for many years, which was the idea that maybe you were a cut above the dollar stores and Walmart, but you were still a very low-price competitor. And now with the clarity of price discovery right in your hand with a cell phone, that maybe people are not only using that in the electronics department, but they're using it elsewhere throughout the store.
Well, I actually think that it's not just price, it's also their fashion edge. If you recall, they were one of the first retailers to bring in an exclusive brand with Missoni, roughly 10 years ago. And over the past, decade, we've seen Kohl's, we've seen Macy's, we've seen JCPenney really start to emulate that strategy and really be very successful with bringing in celebrity brands of the such. And so I think that's part of the factor. And I also think, TJ and Ross's on the price front are very competitive, and so we think they're facing apparel pressure on a couple of fronts.
Stacey, the areas that Target or that the press reports have cited as being those that were weak for Target were electronics, and we know who's picking up share there. It's the real low price people like Amazon. It was books, it was music, it was movies. Should we be surprised that those categories are declining as people increasingly go online and out of store to buy those products?
No, I don't think that's a surprise at all. We know that Best Buy's really been very promotional and basically giving the product away over Black Friday, so that's a pressure there. Certainly people are migrating more and more online when it comes to electronics, books, music, you name it. But I think also you have to think about Walmart here. I mean, they've really turned up the heat with everyday low pricing. They've been very promotional, and they've added back layaway. Target said last quarter that actually that hurt. So really you have to look at what Walmart's doing and ask the question, are they wrestling back some market share?
But just, Stacey, on that question of the online purchases, you go into the store, you see what you like. We know that it's an effect with Best Buy. That's well documented, well felt by shareholders. Could it be going down, almost like a new paradigm, going down the value chain to some of those smaller players? Will it become increasingly common and increasingly a dynamic that they have to be aware of?
Oh, absolutely. I think, we all know that looking at the results here, pricing is paramount here. So wherever the best deals are, that's where the consumer's going. They're using their handheld devices to comparison shop, and they're migrating more and more online. They're going into stores, they're looking around, they're touch and feeling the product, and then they're going for the best price, which is usually online.
Chuck, do you buy that line of reasoning, number one? And number two, how are groceries working out for them?
No, I agree. I mean, I actually think that's a very fair point on the pricing. I know just my wife over the holiday season, she'd be shopping at 3 sites and 3 different prices, and she would go with the cheapest price. And I think that's the consumer's very savvy, and I think Target's got to get its mojo back online. With the grocery front, I mean, their food sales have been very good, but one of the bigger issues we have with Target is that they've been adding these P-Fresh remodels that they're now in 60% of the stores, and the theory there was it was supposed to drive a big increase in traffic. And if you look at Target's traffic over the past 8 quarters, it's gotten worse each quarter sequentially as they've added more P-Fresh remodels. Therefore, that tells me that initiative is not working like management initially thought, and that's an issue structurally that we have a concern with because they're adding a lower margin product into the store base.
P-Fresh is fresh foods, am I understanding correctly?
That's right. P-Fresh essentially is a fresh foods add-on, but it's also a big add-on on dry grocery.
Right.
And it's also remodels throughout the whole store, CE, beauty, home. And, that's a big initiative. It's costing billions of dollars to do. And to me, that's the big surprise.
You go into those Targets, and they are different places now than they were 5 years ago.